Hello Samrat, how are you?
I'm good, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks for asking. So Samrat, first things first, not many know you. I think this is like a boon or a curse to CEOs of bigger franchises that people don't know the face of the CEO. But right now, since India is growing and we are coming, lots of CEOs are coming on floor. So I just want to introduce you by myself. So meet Samrat, who happens to be the founder and CEO of Drunken Monkey, the cafe, the brewery, and then of course, the one of the best quirkiest names that I've ever heard. So he is him. He is the man behind Drunken Monkey. So Samrat, first things first, when you yourself introduce yourself as founder and CEO of Drunken Monkey, how does it feel?
So, firstly, I don't call myself the CEO. I'm not the CEO actually.
Okay.
I'm just the founder.
Okay.
And from the time the company has started, I've not given myself a designation. Because I founded the company, I actually became the founder. I don't believe in
the
designations at all. I think designations are for the external world. Like what are you doing in that company? And this is my designation. Once you are in the company, you have a role and you do the role. And a designation is very limited. I mean, very limiting. What I've understood in my previous places where I've worked in or where I've had my businesses is that if you limit something to a name,
if you limit your job role
anything
or
to
anything
a name or anything to a name,
that
can the name can be the only thing it can be.
Right.
If you don't limit it, it can be multiple things. You don't want me someone saying that I'm just like, for example, in cricket, I'm a batsman, I won't bowl, or I'm a bowler, I won't bat. So a name is very limiting. So I generally like till now, none of my cards or none of my things have anything apart from the word founder. Because that also because I have to have something. Otherwise, no. Even my signature is just Samrat. I don't write anything below that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, do people write anything below that? I never knew.
They write the designation, company name, and all that.
Oh, okay.
For me, even my name also is too much. Why?
This is very. I'm already loving the conversation, the way you started. So I want to understand what actually keeps you going then when it's not the designation. And I understand from a business point of view because I myself run certain businesses. So I want to understand what motivates you to run a certain business.
Okay, in business, what motivates?
Yeah.
So for me, there's certain simple formulas I use in life. I was kind of, as a kid, I understood that I love playing sport.
Okay.
And I play basketball and cricket mainly in school. So that used to be the most enjoyable time for me, playing sport. And even if it was like for fun with friends, even if it's in the balcony or even if it's in just your the outside out on the road outside the house,
street,
or even if it's for the school or college, it used to be the same fun for me. Apart from that, studies I never used to like. Somehow I managed to pass and I got decent grades.
Right.
But I liked the last day of studies. I used to study in the last 2 days. A lot of people hate it, but I liked it.
Okay.
Even the exam part I liked.
So you're very good at performing in pressure.
Maybe you can say that, but maybe for me, this thing about uncertainty is what.
Okay.
I mean, later I understood that anything where the result is uncertain, I like it. Like for example, in sport, there is uncertainty.
Right. The risk, basically.
Yeah, there's a risk. You prepare yourself for something, and you have no guarantee that you will win. Anything can happen.
Right.
The same thing, like exams. There's more chance you'll pass if you study. But still, that last 2 days is when I actually
you give it
understand.
All. Like you give it all.
Yeah, but I like that also. It's not like I didn't accept that with my friends because they look at me like hey, all of us were bunking together,
studying,
doing together, and suddenly you're saying last day you like it. You're like
right.
So then I did my first job, 2006 and 7, and I worked in a software firm in Australia. And in India as well, Infosys I worked.
Oh, okay.
So during that time, I just realized that everything was coming so easily. In the sense, I was in Australia. I was there again as playing for cricket for a club.
Okay.
And I was getting paid well, and I had a lot of time also, and I could travel with that money. but something was missing. Like, so I quit.
Right, that risk.
Yeah, so I quit, and then I realized I think maybe business is what.
That the adrenaline rush.
Yeah, so that's when I entered business, and since then I've been doing different things. And what keeps me going on is if there's something exciting
Like
every day
like
to
this podcast
decide.
as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Every day you need to have something exciting to do, and business gives me that.
Right,
So that keeps
right.
me going.
You know, it's very unusual of me listening to someone who says that they have started something or they're doing business or they're into this market because of that fun or because of that rush. It's very new to me. So I also understand how it has been cultivated, but I also want to understand how was your childhood like, because right now you are about this guy who would want to take risk and, you know, someone who would not say no to, you know, any kind of uncertainty. But then I want to also understand how did this stem up, and I guess if I go into your childhood, I think I can figure it out. So how was your childhood like?
So I was born in a place called Kadapa.
Okay, yeah, of course. In Andhra Pradesh,
Andhra Pradesh,
right?
in the Kadapa district, specifically Pulivandala.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my first standard, I went to Chennai.
Okay.
Chennai, my first standard to my 12th standard, I stayed with my aunt.
Okay.
So, initially I was very reluctant to go, but then I went there, and then the first 1-2 years was a little difficult. I stayed with a lot of cousins.
Right.
And there were like 5-6 cousins, 6 cousins of us around the same age, about 8 years difference between the oldest and youngest. So it was fun actually. Eventually, it was fun because like we used to be very competitive in whatever we play. We used to fight a lot. We used to have a lot of fun, and our aunt used to be very strict because managing 6 kids is not easy, kind of thing.
Right.
So it used to be very strict as well. And in terms of like, I started playing sport from first standard.
Right.
And from first standard, my house was next to Chennai's biggest basketball stadium.
Oh.
It had like 4-5 courts.
Okay.
So I used to play with all like people who are much older than me.
Right.
So maybe at that time also I didn't have any fear of like losing this.
Correct.
Because like,
why would you? I mean,
people are not even expecting me to
right.
win, right?
Understood.
But then like I found it challenging to find ways to do well,
right,
whatever I can. And I don't know how it stemmed out or how it, but I always found like, for example, if I play sport as well, I realized that I hate playing single player sport.
Really?
Yeah. So whenever I tried it, I was not motivated enough. Only when there are people around, and only when it's a team,
right,
I was motivated. And maybe in my basketball team, I would have the maximum stamina and speed, but I never won a race in the school. I hardly participate, but even if I participate, I wouldn't have the motivation to run and finish it. So I kind of realized that people around me give me a little bit of energy, and business also is something similar. So maybe it's something
so
like that.
you are more of a let's build an empire kind of a person, you know, more than, you know, let me just go and wander in, you know, some forest or something like that alone or travel solo. I think you're more of a building one. I guess it happens most of the business. It happens with most of the businesses or the businessmen as well. I think they all want to build that thing, you know, right from the scratch, and they would want to make sure that it grows and keep on growing.
I wouldn't use the word empire because for me the basic need comes from like, for example, I would have gone for I went for state selections and stuff for basketball and stuff. So I quit the selection in between because I didn't enjoy the game. Everyone is, in selections you play self. You don't play for the team, right? I quit it because I didn't enjoy the game. So it was not about getting bigger a bit. For me, it was more about certain things I follow. Like I believe certain things about people, how people
should
like
be
synergy of people can. For example, you guys have a team, right? Something is possible because everyone does
something or their own responsibilities,
and each of you actually respect each other for that. That teamwork, and the joy you find from seeing the final output,
the accomplishments,
after you put all the pieces together, and each one does their own thing. Like what you do, someone else cannot do. What someone else does, you might not be able to do. That's the joy I find. So for me, it is never about empire. Even right now, it's not about an empire. It's about me finding opportunities to work with people and get people aligned to certain things, certain kinds of energies.
Right.
So how you have a podcast and you and your friends or you and your team have thought about this and doing something together.
Right.
So you will not compromise on few things here.
Correct. Right.
Just because you might get, say you said you have this thing about you call having a good conversation, right?
Right.
You might not compromise on certain things, though you might go a little forward.
Correct.
So it's that for me. Empire is not something which is on my mind.
So your principles shouldn't get compromised on the way of whatever you do.
My principles of fun. I wouldn't say principles are a very serious word.
Right.
So I'm not a guy who follows rules.
Right.
But what you feel, you should not.
Right, you should not,
be in
a position of, right.
Yeah.
Understood. No, we recently had this, I recently had, even before, there was another guest that I was talking to, and we were also talking about, what kind of things happen in the industry world and, how compromising things work there. And she also had a very, similar answer that, whatever I do, I, do not compromise on my values. And I guess, I'm just reminded of that conversation. But having said that, for you to enter into different businesses, I think we did not record it yet, but then for you to actually go to your place and then you have done lots of things, but I want to understand your business aspect of it, as in from how did you start entering into the businesses, because you were playing sports and then for some reason you did not have that fun and then you suddenly ventured out into businesses because it eventually gave you certain fun, right? So from that part, when you actually began working in the businesses to right now, what has changed and what are the things that you have worked on? How has Drunken Monkey come to existence?
See, change in the sense, nothing has changed personally for me. For example, I still play sport. I still invest a lot of time playing sport and have fun. For me, everything I do in life need to be of some value in that moment.
Right.
Like, I don't believe in this concept of you do something, you'll become great. You work today, tomorrow you enjoy.
Right.
You do this. For me, it's that moment. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, or if you're not doing what you enjoy, either ways.
Right.
See, there's not only one way to achieve it. You can always enjoy whatever it is, or you can say I'll only do what I enjoy.
Right.
So that is the most important thing. And for me, doing the different businesses, I'm not a guy who uses too much of logic to stuff.
Right.
I think logic
you make sure your emotions come to the play.
Not emotions. Logic is very limiting. Emotions are just an outburst of what you feel.
Right.
Certain times, certain things will come to you.
Right.
And you just need to go with the flow.
Right.
And there's a very thin line between logic, between emotion. If you wait for some time, your emotion will become logic.
Right.
Because you'll get the logic to the emotion.
Correct.
And then if you do it fast, the same thing you'll call it instinct.
Correct.
All these are words.
Correct.
All
But of course, these are interlinked to each other.
Yeah, interlinked to each other.
Right.
So, what has been my only constant is that at all times I've been true to what I feel about certain things, and I do a lot of research. I do a lot of hard work, but I'll never let it make me take decisions which are bigger than the logic. For example, if I need to come to your place, right? I'll use Google Maps. I can't say I'll go instinctively to your place.
Right, of course. Right? You have to have that logic.
Yes,
right.
Logically I have to come
You just
to your
can't
place.
cut it out, right?
Yes.
Right.
But when I'm talking to you,
right,
I shouldn't be thinking, okay, if he asks this kind of question,
what should be the answer? Right.
If he says this kind of thing, maybe I should say this. The moment I do that, I'm limiting the conversation.
Correct. Right?
Which
I wouldn't want to.
Exactly. So the more open you are to whatever is happening around you, the more opportunity you get to wander and explore.
Right.
So I would say I would, rather than an empire, I would say I'm an explorer.
Right.
I don't intend to achieve anything.
Right.
I intend to just explore.
Right. So since you have mentioned about all of these things, now we'll get into the business end, where we'll talk about the very first thing that you have started and to the things that you're doing now. So the whole transition from sports to business, as well as of now, the current things that's happening to you.
Yeah. So what do you want to know specifically about it?
Specifically, how did you start? Like, what was the first venture when you started business? Like, what did you start on, and then how it kept on happening, and then how Drunken Monkey happened?
So when I was in Australia, I got a promotion and a 4-year extension of my visa.
Okay.
And the next day I quit. Because the moment I got it, I knew if I take it, I'll be stuck in this job because I will have a very comfortable life.
Right, and you wouldn't want
to. I might not want to.
Correct.
And I didn't want to.
I mean, I think money sometimes corrupts an artist.
So maybe that I just, the next day I went and told my boss that I'm quitting. They said, did you get a better offer? We'll match it. I said, no, I don't have any offer. They said, what's your plan? What are you doing? I said, I don't have a plan. Then why are you quitting? I said, no, I'm quitting because I want to quit. I want to do something else. I might want to start a business. He said, what business? I said, I don't know. Then he said, no, I don't believe you. I said, no, that is the truth.
Okay.
And then I resigned and I called up my friend and said, let's go do an MBA. So me and few friends, we went to Scotland. We did an MBA for a year. We studied less. We roamed around more.
Right.
And then we came back. And then one day, me and few friends were sitting in a room and we were just having some food and stuff. And at that point, a couple of my friends were working in a 3D animation firm and they're showing me their work.
Right.
And they were just started. So me and another friend were like, this is crazy work. And we're just saying, you must be getting paid crazy. I said, no, we only get paid this much. Okay. I said, okay, me and a friend decided we'll start a company. Come. So next day we told them to quit. Said, whatever you're getting, we'll figure out how to manage that. We just started in a apartment, one room in an apartment, and that was our first company. Its name was Hesha Studios. Okay. It started in Chennai. So it ran for like 4-5 years. Then I quit. And
is it still running or did you?
No, it's not still running. I gave it away. So it ran for 5 more years after I quit.
Okay.
And then it's off now.
Okay.
So that was the first thing, and that was also like very exciting thing for me because that was the first official business I got into. Unofficially, I could have done few things.
Really? What unofficial?
So my 10th, 11th, I think I was into that multi-level marketing thing. I was like.
Oh, okay. The distribution channel.
That one I did for a little time. I did a lot of things like.
You did a lot of things then.
Yeah, so.
And you were
I even worked in petrol pumps.
Really?
Yeah, like if I need money, I'll do anything. No, I was actually even in Chennai. I actually even did worked as extras for movies for about 1 week.
Extras for movies as well.
Yeah, so in the back. So if you need money, okay, fine. Instead of asking questions, you get it. So
right.
So I tried various things. Selling bikes in second hand.
Oh, okay.
So anything like.
Right.
So officially, this one was
the first business which you got registered and.
Yeah.
Right.
So and then jumped to various things. Actually, 2-3 things. See, then the next one was a steel factory kind of a thing, which my uncle has one, and so for that was a completely different experience because handling like taking care of 300 people.
Right.
Like from total tech to a little high-end work to total like mass production to managing inventory. It's a completely different thing. It was a nice experience. And then everything else I did also, for me, there also, when I was getting promoted, I quit again.
Okay.
So always I felt somewhere the job is going to limit me. Or that business is going to limit me. Even this one, the 3D animation thing, I quit when it's actually doing fine only, because
I'm sorry.
It's okay, no, it's okay.
That's it. Allah. Yeah, we can talk. We can continue.
I need to go back to the sentence.
No, you can talk. That's not our preliminary. That's our preliminary.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So 3D animation.
So the 3D animation, I also quit because I just realized in the tech field, any business, if you want to make it really big, you need to be invested in the tech so much because tech changes every few months.
Right.
So I didn't want to invest my rest of life into tech because I felt there's so much more to do, and because I like marketing, I like a lot of other things as well, and I found limited scope in that for some other things which I want to do. So I just exploring, and then this Drunken Monkey was an idea I had in school only. It's not school, college, because I don't drink tea and coffee. So Drunken Monkey sells smoothies, fresh fruit smoothies.
Right.
So I found really less smoothie places in India. It was more Coffee Day made coffee famous.
Cafe Day,
Then recently Chai House and all these people have made tea famous. So I thought even smoothies can be made famous if they're marketed well.
Correct.
So at that point, 2015, I just shut down everything, myself from everything else.
All the other
happening.
businesses.
And I worked on this for about 6 months to 8 months. And then I started my first outlet in Madhapur.
Right.
Until 2020, we grew by a great extent, and we opened outlets pan India, and we were making good mark all over. Then pandemic set in, so we had to change our plans a little bit. And now we're back again.
So what are the plans with Drunken Monkey as of now?
Drunken Monkey, as of now, by 2029, I wanted to be bigger than Starbucks in India.
Okay.
So wanted to make like how they say, let's go out for a coffee.
Right.
It should be let's go out for a smoothie.
Right.
So that
was the agenda.
That's what the agenda from the time I started.
Understood.
Where I wanted to see how did this coffee culture come into place. Coffee culture came into place because of Starbucks. Starbucks in 1980s. They created this coffee culture when there's no coffee culture. Coffee was just drank as any other thing.
Like a similar beverage.
A normal beverage where you get in a hotel. So they created Starbucks and they created the lifestyle around it. So that's what I want to do for smoothies as well, and that's something which is exciting and fun for me. That's why I do it. It's not like
And since it's not easy, I'm sure you would be captivated by it for most of your time.
That's the only way I will. If it's not easy, that's the only way my mind will work. So,
right. So after Drunken Monkey, is it safe to say that you are there now? Like you're getting your kick?
Not fully yet. After, if it's achieved, you're saying?
Yeah, no. I mean, after Drunken Monkey, I want to understand, because all these years you have been jumbling and you have been jumping from one, business to another, and I'm sure your parents might be a little worried. Are they? How was their reaction?
Worry about me ended about 15 years ago when they gave up.
Okay. All right.
They can't really.
Mine are yet to. So.
Yeah, you have to do shocking things and let them know about it.
Right.
So you need to keep shocking them. Then they get used to the shocks and they want no longer. So I shock them in a lot of things, not only this. Just put a tattoo and come and stand. It's not like, and even my decisions, like I'll quit a high-paying job. I'll start something, then I'll get out of it. So Drunken Monkey again. See, in 2020, after the pandemic, I've had to find something else to do temporarily, at least. So at that point, I got very deeply exploring into yoga and stuff. So at that time, I went to the Himalayas for a bit. Then I also became a yoga teacher.
Really?
So all those things.
From learning to yoga to being a yoga teacher, that too in Himalayas.
Yeah. So I did one of the most intense courses as well. Worked for 6 months. So that was like a very nice experience. Nice experience in the sense it opened up a lot of things which I can do in the future also. And since I was so happy that happened, because now Drunken Monkey looks so easier for me. Easier. I mean, that goal which I had. It's, I won't say easier, but it's more clear.
It's more clear. The path.
It's more clear what I need to do and and everything else also. It's like it gives me more time.
What changed internally after the yoga that you have done and the courses that you have taken? Why right now the path is clear? Like what exactly did it change?
Nothing changed. Everything is the same. Just you can see things in slow motion sometimes. So you have more time. So I hardly sleep for 4 or 5 hours a day, but it feels like 8 hours.
Interesting.
So sometimes I sleep out of boredom, extra hour, because I don't know what to get up and do. Otherwise I'm very fresh. So I can, and my efficiency has increased in every way. I can, so I play cricket, so I can go on, without having, with just maybe a banana, I can play from morning to night. Without even so my efficiency of my body also increased because my breathing patterns change. Also your efficiency of understanding things slightly increases. It's not like you didn't have all these.
It's just that it has enhanced.
So it's like when you're on your best, for example, there'll be 7 days. one day you might be at your bestest best.
Right.
Now you'll be more days bestest best.
Right.
There might be some dull days for you.
Right.
Those things will start.
Right. Now you can regulate. Right.
Yeah, you can
On, off. Right.
And like I said, even if normally itself I'm like when pressure is there, I'm very calm. Now I'm like more calm. I don't know what to do with that much calmness sometimes. Like it's like sometimes boring to be calm.
Right. Don't you get angry? Like right now you're not. Like
generally only I don't get angry. After yoga, now I know how to pretend to get angry to get work done.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, generally I don't get angry. I mean, what is it?
No, generally when you're in business, sometimes you get frustrated. Most of the times you get frustrated. There are certain achievements that you would want to, certain milestones that you'd want to, and of course it's very normal for you to get frustrated most of the time. So what's your mantra there?
I never get frustrated. I used to also. I might get disappointed, but it'll never be a negative thing. See, because for me, failures have been a part of my life since I was born. Like, because sports taught me some great
discipline.
Things. Yeah.
Sports taught you discipline.
Where I never used to think as a loss.
Okay.
So I never used to think if you don't achieve something or don't do something, it's just reevaluate, take the feedback, try again, reevaluate, take the feedback, try again. So this thing about even if someone else makes a blunder, everyone has a reason, or there is a system in place.
Right.
So if the blunders happened outside the system, make the system stronger. Or if the person had something else and they made a blunder, figure out to live with it. You can't change anything, right? So it's easier said than done.
Right.
But see,
you get to practice it, I suppose.
Or maybe I keep myself detached to the result actually. Now, if tomorrow Drunken Monkey falls apart, it won't make me feel sad. Even one bit. Only decision I'll take is, should I build it back?
And how should I? Right.
I'm not really bothered. See, what is it going to do to me, Drunken Monkey? You tell me. What will it give me? I have food to eat. I have a house to stay.
Right.
What will I do with 2 houses? I can stay one at a time only now.
Right.
So why should I give it more importance than myself?
Understood.
Okay, I will give it 100% effort.
Right.
But how does it matter what?
Right.
Okay, if your girlfriend is feeling bad, feel bad for that. But why these non-living things should be given so much of?
Right.
So generally also in my company also, I don't encourage people to feel bad for anything. Like you give your fullest and have fun.
Right. Our podcast started on a note where you were constantly about having fun. It's constantly about, having that risk-taking capacity and, wanting to do more and more, hungry of doing more and more. But now that we have spoke for like 20 minutes, the shift has come to a more calmer manner where I'm understanding you more of, in terms of a person. And I do understand what kind of a person you are, at least maybe in the last half an hour that we have spoken to. But then I also want to understand, in your personal life, does this all apply as well? When it comes to professional, I get it, what kind of a businessman you are, what kind of business you believe in, because there are lots of different kind of business and we believe in, so we have our different ways of handling different situations. But when it comes to personal life, I want to understand that part of yours. So how's your personal life going on and what kind of a person you are? Like, if at all I can ask you to introduce you to me in 3 words, how would you?
I'll say I'm chill, relaxed and unpredictable.
Right. And does that have any effect on your personal life?
No, I think my personal life is very similar to my business life or my sports life or any life, because
is there a differentiation? Like, do you differ it or?
No, I am a person who believes in no differentiation. Though a lot of places they say
believe
you have to segment it.
Right.
I just believe that you might need to use different skills in different places
to maneuver in different.
Yeah, but your attitude can remain the same.
Right.
Because if you are able to be successful in one, the same attitude will get you successful anywhere else.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, see, for example, in a relationship, right? In a relationship, you might say, okay, sometimes you need to give in.
Right.
To make the relationship work.
Right.
I would say even in the business, you need to give in to make the business work.
Right.
You need to put yourself aside.
The ego, the self pride, of course.
That should not exist.
Correct.
You can pretend for work to get done,
time, right?
But that should not exist. See, the moment that exists, it's a hurdle, even in business.
Right.
It should be about the business doing well, not about what you feel about the business.
Correct.
Right? Then you're see, you when does this thing about feeling bad comes? Because I am associated with this, and if this goes bad, I become bad.
Right.
That moment you take that thing off, that అంటే how did I say, కొంచెం తగ్గాలంటారు చూడు. Like how this recently, what Pawan Kalyan was using that too much in his
in his political rallies. Right.
So that's probably the best way.
Right.
It's the biggest power you can.
I think the reason why he won also is because he got humbled.
Yeah. So the losses maybe made him that.
Right.
The person.
The humble person he is now.
Right now. So that is the biggest strength. Now I see a lot of people online. They talk about how aggressive you need to be, how you need to go for
hustling
this.
culture, promoting the.
So one of the most important thing to make that happen is to take yourself out of the picture so that nothing can harm you.
Right. Wow.
Right. So if you're not there, what will harm you?
Exactly. Wow.
Then you can do whatever you want.
This
then
is
what is the
really
fear?
very interesting, to be honest. I've never had
There's no
this
fear.
Correct. Right.
And you can mold yourself according to whatever the situation that wants.
Right.
Situation gets over, throw that aside, move on to the next one. So same thing also I follow in my personal life. That's why I use the word unpredictable as something. So you can't really
predict that you would be in
you
a
would
certain
be
way.
like, because in the morning I was like this, you can't say in the evening
Right.
I'll be like that. And I believe everyone should have the freedom to be what they want
Right.
at any time. We are not born stones, no, to be in one shape for 1,000. Even after 1,000 years they'll change.
Right.
If we are humans, we have that
ability to
change.
Right.
Then
Why
change
not?
should be your biggest strength.
Right. And in a good way.
In a good way. And you can't say this is my personality, I'll only be that. Then you're stuck.
I know, right. This is very interesting. So I mentioned this because I've actually had seen lots of people who say this is how I am, this is who I am, and they just give that an excuse and sit in their own places, in their own comfort zones, and they wouldn't want to grow. And I believe until and unless you're not willing to come out of your comfort zone, you'll never grow. So I think this is very relevant to all the people who are giving.
That's
this
why
as
I
an
said we
excuse.
should not use logic.
Right.
Our own logic will limit us.
Correct.
We'll say, hey, logically, you know what? My past I was always like this, so I'm like this. If you take that logic away,
Right.
sometimes you will get that things. Okay, I want to do something else.
Right. I think it comes from within, the innate
innate
want
thing to
to be
change
better.
will come.
Right.
Yeah.
The innate want to become better.
If you use your mind and say no, I'm
Right.
like that,
Right.
that will go off.
Right, because it will eventually make you the same way. Wow, it's just very important. Even if since you're talking about sports, sports actually do that to you. Sports actually take those limitations from you, because every year you see there is a new record being created in any sport. Let it be football, let it be cricket, let it be Olympics as well.
Do you play any
every
sport?
4 years. Yeah, I do play football. Yeah.
So I'll ask you a question.
Yeah, please.
Like how often do you play?
Now it's.
No, when you're playing.
Yeah, it was often thrice a month.
Thrice a month,
Yeah.
right? And you play this six-a-side football?
Yes, we do that.
Six-a-side football,
Yeah,
right?
we only
now, in that 3 times a month, every time you went to that place, was your body and mind in the same condition?
No.
No, right? Every time would have been different.
Correct.
Based on what else happened.
The morning, the routine.
Yeah, a lot of things will. Sometimes you won't even know.
Right.
It will be different.
Right.
Now, your best on that day
Right.
would be the best what your body and mind would allow.
Correct. Right.
It can't be based on your previous performance.
Perfect.
The moment you think about your previous performance, try to match, you're either limiting or delimiting.
Correct.
Now, when you're playing the team sport, if you're able to understand your body and mind and let it flow naturally,
Right.
it'll automatically give the best.
Right.
Sometimes you need to maybe do more defense that day.
Right.
Sometimes maybe that day you're not that sharp to take few shots. You will pass more.
Attacking. Right.
That other person might be sharper that day. He might
Right.
get more passes, and you
Right.
actually might score more.
Right.
All these things can
Right.
happen if you're able to give yourself that
Right. That freedom to actually
freedom
to
to be-
understand yourself and
to just be what you're naturally at that point.
Right.
And
Right.
also give yourself. Now suddenly one guy is in a mental your
Right.
teammate,
A block,
is the mental this thing.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how you do the other time. It makes sense to pass.
Correct. Right.
Right. So all these things can come if you're little giving to what's happening around you, and you will get the best result. That's true for business as well, right?
Right. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, you've been a sports person, you're also into business, so I understand. And it's also very beautiful for you to correlate all of these things, the learnings that you learn from sports and also in business, and also apply it in your own life. I think not many can do it. I personally never did it myself. Right now that I'm talking, I'm looking things at a very different perspective. And your question when you asked me like, why did you start, or how exactly you started this podcast, I think this is the reason why. I think this is the live example why, because there's certain limitations that I have for myself, which I've known by my own experiences, or I've learned from somewhere. But then when people like you, or people like in the morning Kamakshi has come, the actress, when people like them come and they talk to me in a way and then help me understand what are their passions and what are their learnings, and how did they unlearn a certain thing or relearn a certain thing. I think these are the things that make me more of a gaining person rather than you. I think as a guest, I think I'm gaining more because there's lots of knowledge that I've been getting, and I believe whenever you channelize your knowledge in a way that affects you for the for your growth, or that actually makes you learn better or know better, I think that's a win for all of us. But again, your perspectives are very different, to be very honest, and I think I'm enjoying it. So since we have started, I've spoken about your professional life, and then of course personal life we did not maneuver yet. There are lots of things that I want to ask. So I want to understand this question, and this question basically ask at the end of the podcast, but I want to ask you right now, since there would be lots of questions that I'd be asking based on this question. So what is your perspective on life? Like, what do you think life is all about? Like, if you can explain me your way of life.
You ask me 2 more lines about this question, because I want to know where this question is coming from.
So this question is coming from the very innate nature of our podcast, wherein we call our guests, and then we try to understand their perspectives on life, different experiences, on love, different aspects of life basically. So our podcast is based on different aspects of life. It's about life and different aspects of life. So the main question that we ask is to understand, what do you think life is all about? Because most of the times we are very much forgetful of life. When you start living, I think you forget that you're living. You're just waking up in the morning, and then there's certain goal to achieve for that day. There's certain business to achieve that day, and there's certain thing that you have to do on that particular day. If you're doing a regular job, then you have to go to the job and travel and all of it. But then in this rush, I think we all forget what life is, or we don't tend to take that time for ourselves and understand what exactly we are trying to do, or what exactly we should be doing, or understand one's purpose, or understand one's passion. So I believe through this podcast, I'd understand what people think life is all about. And I'd also want my listeners, whenever someone like you is explaining what life is according to you, I'd want them to pause and then reflect it on them, that are they doing right? Like, is the rush worth it? Or is the work worth it? Or whatever things that they're doing, is that worth it to let go of this beautiful life that they have right now? Because this opportunity might not come to you again. I do not believe in the reincarnation or incarnations and all of it. So I just want to make sure that people like you, who have definitely a very good perspective on life, to be very vocal about it, so that people who do not know, they try to understand and then figure out by themselves. I don't want to copy paste, but I want them to figure out by themselves, like, are they doing right or not? So this is where the question is coming from.
So you want me to be truthful about what I feel?
Please be very honest.
So I feel that, or I believe that actually life is meaningless.
Okay.
So in the sense, there is no meaning to it.
Okay.
I'm not saying it in a negative way. That doesn't mean that if you just sit and do nothing, you're going to be happy.
Right.
Does not also mean that if you do all the things in the world, you're going to be happy.
Right.
What I mean by life is meaningless is all these goals, these aims, or these things which we have in our head, these are all just made up. Right. Now, for example, like 20,000 years ago, the biggest king would have won the biggest kingdom. Who cares?
Right.
Even right now, do we really care about what Zuckerberg is, or what? Yeah, it's nice to talk once in a while.
Right.
It doesn't really make
give
any
you
emotional.
purpose.
Yeah, give you any purpose or whatever it is. I mean, there is no correlation between, are people more happy now or 1,000 years before? With nothing also they used to be happy.
Right.
With
I mean,
more
they used to
things-
live at least.
They used to live.
Right.
There's no relation between, okay, if you have this, you'll be happy. If
Right.
you don't have it, you won't be happy.
Right.
There's no relation actually. If you see, like logically, if you see everything, there's no correlation between anything what you're doing and anything what you're trying to achieve.
Okay.
Okay. So, if you feel that there is meaning to an ant's life, then there is meaning to your life. What does an ant do? It just lives. It builds its own colony, whatever it is. Eats for some time, it dies.
Right.
Right? Or what does a bird do? It goes, flies around a little bit.
Right.
So how in the world do we humans think that we're more important? There should be some logic, no, to say that we are more important.
Right.
Okay, are we doing something better than them? We are only screwing up things more than them. According to, if you look at, imagine there's one God. Okay, God is looking at all the creatures.
Right.
He'll give us last rank.
Right.
In terms of, you'll say, okay, gave you so much of this thing, you didn't do, you only
Right.
screwed up more.
Right.
And then you'll say you're in depression.
Right.
See,
Right.
so logically, if you see it, there's not much to it. Like, only we feel that we're doing something awesome and we feel that, okay, in all these things, we are good and all this. It's only to make ourselves feel better about ourselves. Right now, see, if you look at it in a very primal way, we are a part of the animal kingdom or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And what is the innate nature of any animal? To live. Right? And when we see certain animals do certain things, it gives a very positive vibe.
Right.
Like, even if you see it on Discovery, if a lion is chasing a deer, it gives a very positive vibe. If dolphin is jumping, it gives a positive vibe. Or even probably a deer is sleeping calmly, it also gives you a positive vibe. Any kind of thing which is done with full intention gives a positive vibe. Whether it's calmness or activeness or whatever.
Or aggressiveness.
So anything we do, if you do it with focus and intention, it gives you something positive. That's called positive energy.
Right.
So the only thing which you can take away from life is, at that moment, are you in a positive zone, or are you having fun? Or that's what I call fun.
Right.
Okay?
Right. Understood.
Rather than use complicated words like
Right,
positive and
right.
all, because they'll say
Sounds very philosophical.
philosophical,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So at that moment, are you having fun or not?
Right.
Now, having fun might be different for different people. It's different for you at every moment.
Wow.
Morning for you, what is fun? Evening cannot be fun for you.
Right.
It depends on, at that moment, what is the most natural thing for you to do. Are you putting yourself in places where you are able to use all your energy, which is there with you? Every day you'll have this much amount of energy. If you don't use that energy, it's like a balloon. If you keep pumping in more and more and more, it'll burst.
Right. Right.
If you release that energy, if you use that energy, you'll get that positive thing. Basically, there's no meaning.
And it also can happen to negative energy as well,
Yes,
right? I mean,
yes.
even if negatively you're taking lots and you're not,
So negative energy
venting
is
out.
like pent up energy only.
Right, right. And
Right.
one day you would burst in a
And
negative way.
you would so stop things, whatever is coming out, it will
Right.
get built up. So all this also is very complicated to listen. At the end of the day, on that day, are you able to do justice to what you feel or not? I'm not saying feeling means the government is wrong, go change it. This thing is wrong, go change it. If you feel like eating, did you eat? If you feel like running, did you
I
run?
mean, it can be as minuscule as possible as well as bigger as possible.
As big as possible.
That's,
What do
that's
you
up to
feel?
you.
If you're
Right.
motivated, do something about it. If
Right.
you're not motivated, don't do anything about it. Now, if you're
okay.
crying, cry properly at least. Whatever it is, if you finish it,
Right.
the next moment will come.
You'll move on to the next
You'll
one.
move on to the
If
next
you're not
moment.
finishing.
Don't
then
get
how
stuck
would
on any.
you- Right.
So basically, if you ask me, it's meaningless. We are here for no specific reason.
Right.
If there was a reason for us to be here, we would have been more clever.
Right.
Right?
Right.
There's no reason for anything in this earth. We are all part of a big
Right.
ecosystem.
Right.
We all have a certain role to do in the ecosystem.
Right.
If you don't do it properly, anyway, the ecosystem is going to kill you.
Right.
Right? Even if humans don't do things properly, Earth is not going to get killed. Human only will get killed first.
Right. Right.
Earth will figure out a way to
revive
regenerate.
its
This
yeah,
thing
to
about
regenerate.
humans saving the Earth is all bullshit. Humans
Right.
will die. Earth will
Right.
still stay. It
Right.
will have. Do you think all the living organisms in Earth will die? No.
No.
We will kill few. Because of that, we'll die. Then everything will come back again,
Right.
and we'll come back last, according to the evolution.
Right. Right.
So you cannot harm anyone.
Right. Right. That's very beautiful. But again, I really want to understand how did this mindset of yours has evolved all these years? Like, why did you, or how, whatever you are, however you are, why do you think you have been promulgated to this kind of a mindset as of now? Like, did things happen very badly to you, or you have realized things? Because the way you're explaining, there's just two ways of understanding where you're coming from. It should be either from a lot of pain that you have evolved to a person like this, to be thinking that life is meaningless and it's just about you being in that particular moment, and feeling what exactly you are in that particular moment. It should be the pain, or it should be either too much of self gratification, too much of self understanding, self exploration. So where are you coming from?
I think as a kid, I spent a lot of time on self exploration or self analysis until very recently, maybe until 5-6 years ago. It happened through me understanding, for example, when I left my parents and went to my aunt's place first, like trying to understand why am I feeling sad, trying to understand why certain things are happening. Rather than complaining, I was trying to just feel it and see and compare it next time it happens, what's happening. And trying to understand other people, why they're feeling. That was a thing from childhood. I don't know how it came. It was not by choice, or it was not any thing. It's just there. There's a boon and there is a curse to it. Because it's not good.
Sometimes you are too much.
The fun of life will go off sometimes.
Right. If you're too much involved into the logics of things.
Yeah. So, but it was not something which I could stop. It used to happen in the background by itself.
Naturally.
Yeah. So, I think at one point, finally, when I came to a point where everything looked so in sync, when there is no meaning to things. That's when I lost interest itself in, okay, what is the point? I thought for this many years, came to this conclusion, but it feels so right. And from then on, everything feels right, and I can give you for the same thing, I can give you a motivating explanation also.
Correct.
It's not difficult.
Correct.
But that
it's up to you. How do you want to turn, right? When you have water, you can either make it chilled, or you can have it normal also. So it depends on how exactly you're channelizing your energy as.
Right. But I wouldn't advise anyone to analyze things, because at the end of the day,
it's for most of my time as well, I've spent analyzing a lot. I've never spoken this to any of my guests because I never had the chance to. But then I'm a person who would analyze things a lot more deeper. For me, an escape is never a solution. For me, the solution is actually a solution. Right? You have to sit and understand what are your patterns. Why is this thing happening? Lots of internal reflection and external reflection as well, and also understanding people. And I've also come to a point where right now, if a certain person is also behaving in a certain way, I tend to understand them, empathize them, and sometimes feel pity about the kind of knowledge or the limitation of knowledge that they have, or the limitation of wisdom in our conversation. So I believe wisdom is also something that comes out after lots of experiences. It just can't come to you like that. I think the kind of wisdom that you're showcasing, I'm sure the things that you have learned, and since you mentioned that it was right from your childhood, now I can understand. But then in our lives go in a very linear manner, because when you're born, you might have your siblings, you might have your parents and all of that, but then at one point of time you get married. Right, and then you are also married as of now, and I'm sure that lots of things must have changed, or lots of things you would be experiencing for the first time. So not directly getting into the marriage part or the wedding part, I want to understand how was love for you before you got engaged or got married and all of that. So how was love for you? Did that change you as a person? Because it does for many. I want to understand how has that been to you.
I think I was most of the time of my childhood I was in a relationship, one or the other. And very few times maybe I was not in a relationship, but most at school, college, then after college. And I used to break up after a year or two, or sometimes even shorter. I never knew the reasons. Maybe getting too comfortable, or maybe in that, maybe I didn't like too much of comfort. I'm not sure. But once I felt very, very comfortable in a relationship, I used to get away from the relationship.
Why?
I have no clue. I told you, I don't think about logic and all. If I think about logic, I can't do half the things I do in my life, because it will slow me down so much. And like, see, if some feeling is gone, I'll go tell them feeling is gone. That's all.
Okay.
It's not like I can fake it.
Right.
So, like.
So you are never heartbroken. You broken heart.
No, I was also heartbroken.
Okay.
It's not like people didn't break up with me.
Okay.
So when they broke up with me, I realized that okay, this also happens. So I was heartbroken. No, because for me, whatever feeling I don't stop it. Like it comes. Not like I was not heartbroken, but later on in my life, less heartbreaks. Less heartbreaks in the sense it passes faster.
Okay.
The heartbreak comes, sleep, and passes faster.
Right. What have you learned through love? Or did it ever change anything for you?
Things. See, every relationship I had taught me a lot, because you're so close to the other person, you can become that other person. You can experience life through that other person, and those characters you can imbibe.
The traits, right?
The traits you can imbibe. So every person is a way you experience the world. So that's something which was
wow, I really love the way you have just said it. I think this is going to be the title of the podcast. I mean, it's just very surreal, because most of the times I did not have been in many of relationships. I never experienced love as well myself. But then I also believe that it's very true, when you're living with someone, you experience life through them as well, right? When someone is very comfortable and they talk to you about their emotions, and you try to understand, or you at least put that effort to try to understand them, I think that's when you're living their life as well, not just yours. And I think this is by far the most beautiful thing a human can ever experience, to understand oneself or the other completely, without any hindrances, without any barriers, to actually try and understand. I think that's the most magical thing that a human being can ever do. And I think we're all blessed. If you ask me the difference between an animal and a human being, since we're all living and we're all surviving, if there's one difference that I'd want to point out in the very first point, I would say that they don't experience life from another animal's perspective, but we do experience life from another other person's experiences. Let's say, for example, now, since I've mentioned about how life is sometimes meaningless if you're not in the moment, or if you're not taking the good out of it, or working on the negative points out of it, I don't think I would have ever looked at life at that way. But right now, since I mentioned, I'm now living your life as well. I'm trying to look at your perspective, and then the questions that I'm also asking, which is very unusual of me of asking. These questions are not something that I ask to other guests. So the questions are also being framed according to you now. Right, because when we have a podcast, it's about conversation. It's never about a script, and I don't carry a script for myself. So what happens is, with every guest, the questions are never the same.
Got it.
Right, it always depends on the conversation, on the personality of the guest, and what are they bringing onto the table. That's how the whole conversation builds up. And right now with you, I think this has by far one of my most challenging podcasts, because the questions are not there. It's very unpredictable, first things first, since you are unpredictable. And I guess I am somehow trying to get your perspective as well. And I'm trying to understand, okay, fine, if he has answered this might have happened, or that might have happened. And if I might be wrong, I'm asking you, what exactly might have happened, all of that. So I think this is by far the most important ways to also be a human being.
True.
Right, if you live your life by your own self, if you don't want to consider what others feeling or your loved ones are feeling, you're not responsible for everyone, but at least the ones who love you truly. True. I think if you're responsible
for them, you don't need to be responsible. Right. You just need to see, if you feel it fully,
right,
you will do what you need to.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
See, if you don't feel it,
right,
you won't even know.
Correct.
Whether you want to do it or you don't want to do it.
Right.
At least give yourself that option.
Correct.
So I think what limits this is talking, especially with your loved ones and stuff like that. I feel, this is my personal opinion, might not be true for everyone. Talking blocks the feelings sometimes.
Really?
For example, see, for example, my ability to explain, especially, see, now we are talking about, in the podcast, we talk about a lot of stuff which can be explained.
Right.
Especially in a relationship. A human ability to explain what you feel is limited to actually 5 to 10% of what you feel.
Right. Because we only know what we can
words.
Explain. Correct.
And those words will be very limited, and those feeling you have, the moment you use the words, the feeling itself will change.
Correct.
And the other person's ability to receive that same feeling from those words is also limited to only 10-20% of what that
to the vocabulary that they know.
And because the other person also will be in a different frame of mind.
Right.
And through those words, to get it is much tougher. A easier way to feel each other is by using words only for conversation's sake. Anything serious, you need to feel it. See, you see the best movies,
Right.
the best scenes.
They're not
They
spoken.
don't need to talk much about the scenes.
They're not dialogues, right?
So if you see the best directors, they will not try to explicitly tell you what that person is feeling. If you see serials, they'll say in the background, you feel this.
Right.
One background music, sad music, they'll put feel sadness. One background music, this thing. And if there's someone shouting, they'll shout loudly, saying that I'm angry. But you see a really good movie, like for example, a Sarkar, like the villain or someone might be talking in a very soft,
Right.
or Godfather you take.
Right.
The softness he talks, but you can see the intensity, you can see you feel that, you can only feel that person.
The emotion,
Don't give importance to the
feeling.
words.
Right.
The moment we take the importance out of the words,
Right.
the words are anyway coming. You will anyway understand the words.
Right.
But do not focus on the words.
Right.
Just be open to the feeling.
Right.
You will take in a lot more
Correct.
and experience a lot more of what's happening.
Correct.
Same with everything in life. The same way, when something is happening in front of you, if something is happening in business, if I'm talking to myself at the same time, I won't take it in. I should shut myself down.
Right.
Don't try to analyze it. If I'm analyzing it already when it's happening, I'm talking.
Correct.
Just watch. Same thing happens in cricket. If you're looking at the ball and if you're thinking about what shot to play before the ball comes, you will play a wrong shot. Same happens in football.
Right.
If you're already trying to guess
Right.
whether he's going to kick on the left or right,
Right.
he'll fake you.
Right. Right.
You have to be blank and alert.
Action speaks louder than voice. I think this is one example for that. So since you have had breakups and since you were heartbroken and you broke also many hearts, and then lots of things might have happened, your own relationship. I don't want to get into much detail that way, but then now since you're happily married or you are married, I think happily married is a wrong word. That depends on you whether you're happy or not. So tell me, how is this experience been and how's this journey?
I dated her for a year and a half before I got married. And she's the only person who I've dated since school days who I realized we don't have even one thing in common.
Right.
And at that point, I realized quite a few things of all this thinking and all this thing. And I realized this is the right person for me because we don't have anything in common. Like, I don't know, it happened automatically. It was not like I thought about this, but that's the biggest blessing for me because we think differently, we believe in things differently, we behave differently, we are motivated by different things, we are completely different human beings, but I feel that was my biggest thing because with her it makes me, like how you said, every situation made you a new person, right?
Right.
With her, I'm everyday new person. Anyway, there's nothing for me to
lose
or maintain.
Right.
For her also, it's the same thing.
Right. Because you both are different, and so you don't have to be right for each other, right?
There's no concept of
pretense.
right. There's no concept of right.
Right.
We don't have anything serious to talk to.
Right.
We talk normal stuff. We do serious stuff, and we are like having the best relationship of our lives.
Right.
I mean, yeah. So I don't know how it happened. It definitely did not happen logically.
Right.
If any see all the other times, there were at least one or two things common about.
Right.
So logically, if even my friends, our own friends, told us, "You guys will not match. Don't get married." But if you go back to the things, it's like, see, eventually, later in life, I'm understanding what is marriage. Now only I'm understanding, not when I got married.
Right.
Marriage came as a institution, or marriage came as a thing. See, marriage has been there for thousands of years.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Suddenly, in the last 40 years, suddenly the Americans started saying marriage is not good. That's 40 years, 50 years.
Right.
It's been there from ages. People have been following something. And suddenly now Indians also saying, the Western culture slightly, marriage is not good. Now, if you analyze the whole thing, let's talk logically. Are we saying that this 40 years of human brain is much...
Can scrap out
20,000 years of human brain?
Right.
That means 20,000 even all the scientists now, they'll take a sample period of this much and they'll say this is the trend, this is the trend.
Right.
When it comes to these kind of things, they will use stupid logics to conclude the same way how burger thing, these things came and they push off all Indian food. Now all the Indian food is coming back.
Right.
The ragi, these things, all these things are coming back as
right.
Coke came, this came, everything they pushed off. Now again all the Indian
soda, the Goli sodas are coming again. Right?
Yeah, everything. Right. So if there is a history, there's a reason to it.
I mean, if something has worked for so long, there should be a reason.
See, now you're having a podcast. Right. You mentioned this yourself that every time you have a podcast and you talk to someone who has a completely different opinion about things, you learn more about yourself, you learn more about life, you learn more about that other person.
Right.
Three things person.
Right.
So for that to happen, you said you're trying to look at the world in my issue.
Correct.
Right? Marriage does that. Marriage will put you in one corner and force you to look at the world in a different way, not to put you down, to improve you.
Right.
If you're in a marriage, now not like us before, without thinking, they get into a marriage.
Right.
First, sometimes there's a struggle.
Right.
Then that person's like, "Arey, I'm stuck here. Let me figure out." Tagutar. Each one will.
Right. They would.
The moment they do it, they will realize the joy that what I was holding on to this long.
Right.
That ego only you're holding on to, right?
Right.
The moment it's gone, you are so free. Now you can be whatever you want.
Right.
The best successful people always had a good support of the opposite sex.
Right. I completely believe in it. I believe Shah Rukh Khan is Shah Rukh Khan because he had.
Yeah. Because it's a daily practice for you.
Right.
To make yourself invisible.
Right.
Because more than your house, you need it outside.
Right.
In your house, even if whatever you do, nothing is going to. You can come back again and you can fix it.
Right.
Whatever you're learning at home, you have to implement it outside. So marriage will be a training ground for your outside,
the outside world.
Nowadays, we are because of the Western world, we're looking at reverse. Let me settle the outside world and come marry.
Right.
Saying you marry, you'll fix the outside world because here you'll understand
the basics of understanding.
Basics of yourself.
Right.
What is fixing the world? You have to deal with people only.
Correct.
If you cannot deal with one person, how the hell you think you'll be successful in dealing with the whole world?
Right.
And you'll say only if I deal with the whole world, I'll deal with one person. That is a stupidity in what we feel these days, saying that no, this is an older concept. Even I felt that. I'm one of those guys who said I'll never marry.
Who rejected
the idea never marry, and my younger brother got married before me.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got married around 30. What my age? 35. I got married. Yeah. So it's not like I'm those guys who got. But I got to know this only when I got married.
Right.
And I took that step because I don't. When something comes from within, I don't stop it.
Okay.
If I'm a guy who stops it, I would have never got married. No?
Right. So who asked out first? I mean, because you were a guy who was against and who did not want to. So
asked out for the marriage.
Yeah. How did things work?
We were having a live-in.
Okay.
So one day I was going to office. I went out, just came back, and she was having coffee. I opened the door and said, no, "Shall we get married?" She said yes. I said, "Okay, afternoon I'll talk to my parents," and I left. That's all.
Great. So you don't have a fancy story or what?
I have not like that. In the sense, whatever I feel that time I'll do it. There's no planning and all. I don't plan.
Right. I think this podcast would actually encourage people to get married and be in relationships because as you've mentioned right now today we do get influenced. For the last 50 years, United States being one of the most prominent countries that we all look up to, the whole world looks up to US. And I think somehow down the line we have all got influenced with their culture, with the way they are portraying things. And I'm not just talking about relationships. I'm talking about everything they do. The business they do, we get influenced. The kind of lifestyle they have, we get influenced. Everything is actually looked, and somehow we are like the 7th or 8th generation that's actually taking something from US, right? So I think it has been pumped, the whole idea of wedding and marriages. I think it all has been brainwashed in a way that we feel uncomfortable when we talk about it.
Trust me on that because I've done both.
Right.
I first followed them only.
Right.
It didn't work, so I'm following the.
Right.
See,
Come back to the roots.
Yeah, and it's so simple. Look at their stories, look at our stories.
Right.
Like, look at how the foreign movies are made. It's about machoism, it's about this thing. Look at the same thing. For example, you see a Ramayana, Mahabharata. Each
more about
character,
responsibilities, right?
No, each character will have a place where he would go through certain things without the anger. If there'll something unjust will happen.
Right.
That person will not get angry. Okay, you go and stay in the forest for this many years.
Right.
Because someone lost in gambling or someone anything.
Any reason. Right.
So they'll show characters where certain things happen, but they take it with grace. Now that person, an American, will look at that and say, how the hell is he quiet? Doesn't he have a self-respect?
A voice of his own.
This fellow will say, if something you do makes me angry, then why? That means I'm giving you self-respect.
Right.
If something you do, why should it affect me? I will do whatever it is. I'll still be happy. Whatever is required, I'll do. And you became a god after that.
Right.
Where someone, if it's an American movie, they would show the same thing as a revenge story.
Right.
So both of them fighting their egos.
Right.
These people are fighting for the people.
Right. Different perspectives
Different
again,
perspectives.
and then it depends on what kind of a person you are and what kind of imbibe or knowledge imbibe do you want to imbibe, basically. Get it? It's very different, your point of views, and I think if I start talking to you as of now, about life and all, I don't think the podcast would end anytime soon.
You can.
Because I also have very very much different opinions in in life and love and all the other stuff. But then since we've spoken about the relationship part, and then we have spoken about your marriage part, tell me the three things that you have that the three things that can actually make a marriage a healthy marriage, or what are the three things? Only because you're married.
Three things which will make.
Or just one thing, just anything that you think should be done or should be practiced in a marriage that can lead to a healthy companionship.
I'm thinking because I didn't do anything by choice. See, I would say this concept of trying to understand the other person, forget it. Love the person. Love has nothing to do with understanding. If your mom needs to understand you before loving you, she can't love you.
Right.
And you don't tell your mom anything anyways, still she loves you. Mom and dad also would not have told you most of the things
that they have,
when they were making up.
Right.
Still love has nothing to do with understanding. We have as humans we have two different faculties. One is your brain to understand things. One is your heart to live life. When it comes to family and people around you who are your friends or you have relationships, don't use your mind. It's more your heart. Feel whatever it is. There's nothing right or wrong. If someone is doing something wrong, let them do it wrong. It's okay. What is there? Don't try to correct them. Just love them for what they are. If you want to use your mind, use it in business. Use it to help some random person do some things.
Right.
Or use it in your job. Or use it in some sport you want to play and how you want to strategize. Or use it to pay your taxes.
Right.
So you can't.
Right.
You have to use your left hand for your left hand, right hand for your.
Right.
That's the only thing I'll say. If you try to bring your. So what people do is, what I've seen is, they'll try to use their mind at home, saying, "Why is this there? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this?" And then they'll go to office and they'll use his heart. My boss is not treating me well. Where you have to use your mind, use your mind. Why are you feeling over there?
Right.
Where you have to say that you have to, okay, whatever that other person is doing, whether you understand it doesn't, how does it matter?
Right.
Who are we to understand someone? We are not, I don't know, when God comes down itself, he can understand some of us. Because first of all, I don't understand myself.
Right.
Every day I feel differently.
Right.
Today I'll feel differently, tomorrow I'll feel differently. So take that, one thing I'll say is, it's a long thing I said, but in single sentence, keep your mind and logical understanding out of it.
Right.
And do it purely for love.
Perfect. All right. So the next question, because you have been using the word God right? 2 to 3 times. And for me, if you ask me for the frontal face of yours or the way that you've been speaking, I think that you're an atheist. I believe so. I don't know if it's true, but then I want to understand, do you believe in God?
I really don't know whether I believe or don't believe in God, because my concept of God is all of us. Like, if I look at myself as an individual, I'm an individual. But if I look at all of us together, it's God. That's what God is for me. So nature is God. Everything connected, it is God. So when I am with people and experience something, I'll feel that euphoria.
Right.
So all that is God for me, and all that I see, I feel has certain energies and certain synergies which link together, and that is God for me. So I don't know whether I'm an atheist or whether I believe in God.
Right.
I just believe a bigger
Picture.
I mean, bigger conglomeration of things.
A bigger
called
experience.
God.
Right.
Yeah. So that I think is togetherness.
Right.
So
right. Great. Do you have any regrets, Samrat?
Never.
No regrets. All right. One thing that I really want to understand is because you know how to divide your logics and how to divide your magics as well. You know, you have a very strict line and you don't blunder there.
No, I make blunders every day.
You do?
I make blunders every day, day in and day out. I just know when I make the blunders again. That's all. I laugh about myself and I redo it. That's it. It's not like I do. I make blunders every day. Yeah, it's like, otherwise I'm not human.
Right, of course. So what I mean is, you have your logical side, you have your other side as well, which doesn't correlate with logic, but then you don't blur the lines, right? You're very sure about what to use and where to use, what to use, etc. But then for someone like you to lose, to accept failure, I want to understand that part of yours, is again, you've just mentioned that you do blunders, you learn, and then, laugh about it, and then you work out on it again. But then I want to understand, for someone like you, how does failure mean, or what does failure mean to you, and how do you actually, recultivate? You have mentioned many times that you re-evaluate and then you work on it again, but then how does failure make you feel in the very basic instinct of it?
It actually makes me feel good only.
Really?
Yeah, it's like if I've actually done whatever I could at that point of time, and at that point of time, whatever my body and my mind allowed me to do, if I'd given 100%, actually failure makes me feel good, because it motivates me to upgrade myself for the next time.
Right.
Because I know otherwise I'm going to fail again. It's not going to be fun.
Right.
It's like playing a video game. You need to go to the next stage.
Right.
You got out, so you have to be slightly better. So when I succeed, slight confusion comes to me. What to do next?
Correct.
It's what to do next. So either ways, the feeling is kind of similar. When I succeed, I'm happy for people around me. Like if mostly it's a team and stuff like that. Wherever I look at success and failure, I'm happy for the team around me. I'm happy for the moments you have after the success. I value that. Like people around us are more energetic, more this thing when you see success, and you have some fun.
Right.
But personally for me, when I fail, it's nice. Like
the path becomes more clearer.
It's like there's a challenge.
Right.
There's a challenge now.
And you are very clear about what to do next.
Not very clear. I am very clear that I have to do something about it.
Correct.
Right. So this motivation has to come naturally, to me. I can't fake it.
Right.
So failures give me motivation. Success doesn't give me motivation.
Right. And it's actually true. Most of the times when we listen someone saying this, most of the time we think, whatever, he's just saying just because he had a platform or something like that. But I really believe that failures actually, give you that path, give you that space for you to understand and then work on your next move. While success, of course, it's also very good to have. But at the same time, I think it will stagnate you at a point of time. Right.
Especially for a person like me, it will stagnate me.
All right.
So I'm more worried, like if I achieve what I need to achieve in 2029, I'll be like, I'm more worried about it. Like the moment you said that thought went there, I'll be like, okay, what should I do now, which is more exciting? How I can't keep searching, no?
Right. No, but trust me, I'm a strategy guy. I'm your guy. Whenever you'd want any kind of help in terms of I'm sure you wouldn't want to, but you can always.
No, 100%. Like you said, the only thing I've learned in life is from people only.
Right. Right.
Like I've learned only from 2% from myself. 98% I've learned from people, and that's why I generally, like, except for the 2 years when I was into yoga and meditation, I cut myself from everyone.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm most of the times around people.
Right. So since we have come so far, I want to understand what gives you happiness. What makes Samrat happy?
I have no clue. I have no clue in the sense, like this question, I don't think I'll ever get the answer. Even if I have 100 lives later on this, because I first of all don't know what is happiness. If you ask me very frankly, like, why is like I get these questions in my head.
Of course.
Why is being sad not happy? Okay, if I'm watching a movie, one tragic scene is happening.
Right.
Okay, you'll feel sad, but it's done so well. You'll come out, you'll say it's a beautiful movie. So were you happy or were you sad? Was it happiness or was it sadness?
Correct.
Again, something like good happens to you.
Right.
Okay, you're very happy because that good is happening to you.
Right.
You're very happy in relation to what? That moment before that when nothing was happening.
Right.
If something better happens after that, you're again happy in relation to this.
Right.
So it's just
It's never a competition, right?
Yeah, it's just a feeling, no. For me, feeling is feeling only, I'll say. I won't give it importance only.
Right.
Like I won't give, even for my friends, like I won't give too much of importance to what they feel.
Right.
I know, say, okay, I will, that moment they're happy, I'll be happy. But after that, I don't really care. Right. They only will forget that happiness, I'll only will forget, we'll move on with the life to the next. Try not to go searching for that feeling, happiness. But I want to go searching for different feelings.
Right.
One feeling of excitement. Okay, you're there in one longest bungee jumping.
Right.
Fear.
Right.
That fear also is happiness. No, that means different kinds of feelings. See, every thing will give you a different kind of.
Right. The outputs are different.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you're going to propose to the girl you love.
If she says yes, then
yes or no. No, before that.
Okay.
That tension will be there, no?
Right.
That is also one different kind of feeling. So everything, if you experience the feeling in fullest, no?
Right.
That is I would say, more easier way to live life, where you don't need to search for any feeling.
Right.
If you search for one feeling, you can't sustain.
Right.
Because
you can't dismiss all the other feelings.
Because that feeling is that feeling because of the other feelings.
Right. It depends.
Yeah, like now if you're feeling happy, you can only know you're happy if you're sad.
Right.
There's no value to that happiness otherwise.
Right.
So if you give importance to that sadness only, you'll get this important happiness.
Right. Understood.
So in that way, it's very easy.
Right.
You don't need to search. Everything will come.
Right. You have no idea how many things I'm relearning and unlearning today as I speak to you. But then the last question that I want to ask is, what from now? So what's Samrat going to do from now on? Like, what are the dreams? What are the achievements that you want to have? And how would life be like for Samrat from here on?
I have no plans. At this moment, business-wise, Drunken Monkey is there, and if I have more time or if things happen, I might want to do more things.
Right.
I would want to explore things which are not yet explored yet. Maybe things like what we were talking about in a deeper sense. Who knows?
Right.
Like, but I don't know the route. Just because I did one yoga meditation for 2 years, it doesn't mean.
Right.
But that also interests me. At the same time, doing something more which will disrupt things in the world. Like, see, Drunken Monkey for me is something which will disrupt something.
Right.
I want to disrupt the market.
Right.
So I'm not sure after that will I have the same excitement to disrupt one more thing. So I'd want to keep myself. Okay, I can answer it actually. I want to keep myself the freshest and fittest in terms of body and mind, so that whatever's happening naturally to me, I can experience, I can explore it
to the fullest.
So that's what I think I invest most of my time to. I get up at 3 or 4 in the morning every day.
Right.
And most of my day, like I do some yoga, meditation, then I go to the gym, then I might go to the cricket net. So first 4 hours goes like that, then work, then evening. So it's more directed towards that. Maybe that is my route. I don't know.
Right. All right. No, it's a really wonderful, fresh perspective altogether. As I've mentioned, by far, this is the most challenging podcast I've ever had. Sometimes I'm running out of questions as also, because for me to also ask a question for the feeling that I've just mentioned, I need to first know it. Right, when I'm knowing something for the first time, there's no by question as well. After you said something, there's no other question also that I can ask. So it has been really very challenging for me. But I really love this conversation. I really liked it, and I guess there are very few times where you're actually scratching your brain to understand and trying to see someone else's perspective, and it has been really challenging for me. And I love challenges as well, just like you. So what we'll do is, before ending this podcast, we play a small game.
Sure.
So whoever loses the game, they have to perform a philanthropic dare.
Okay.
So we'll play this blinking game because that's like the only game that we can play in this small space. So what we will do is, you'll have to look at me, I'll have to look at you, and then whoever blinks first, they'll lose the game. And whoever loses, they'll have to perform a philanthropic dare. So it can be about feeding underprivileged children, or distributing some food to, or feeding food to stray dogs, etc., etc., anything like that. So something very meaningful, something very impactful. Because I don't want my guests to come and we just speak and upload it on YouTube just for getting a certain views or something. I really want to have certain impact as well. All right. So we'll start the game. I'm sure I'm losing the game because you're very focused.
I'm not focused.
Okay.
I told you, single player games, I don't win.
Right. But please be very competitive. I really want you to win.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
Okay. So let's start. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Okay. You're very focused. Okay, you blinked. Okay, so I won. Thank you, Samrat, because I've never lost this game, but I thought I would.
No. I realized that you kept this game because you never lost it.
Really? Yeah, he's in my den. So, all right. So what we'll do is, we have written 1, 2, 3, 4, different philanthropic games. Philanthropic dares, and whichever number you choose from 1 to 4, you'll have to perform that dare. And we would be coming together, and we'll do that. All right. Perfect. Any number, 1 to 4.
1.
1. It says volunteer your time in a government school.
Sure.
I'm sure kids will love you.
Okay.
Thanks again.
So you'll fix the school for me?
Yeah. I'll do that. My team will do that for you. I'll let you know, and we'll come down and we'll do what to do.
Sure.
You'll have to talk. Okay, you are the orator. You'll have to talk
tell me
to
what to do. You're the boss. I'll do it.
No, you have to talk to the kids.
Yeah, I'll talk to the kids.
Yeah, that's it. That you'll have to do. All right. Thanks again, Samrat. It was great talking to you, but I want to understand how was your experience.
Same here. And sorry for the unconventional answers.
No. I really loved it. I think people would look forward to.
Okay.
And I really want people to actually. I am going to make a lot of hype.
No, my wife always tells me, why don't you give
conventional answers?
People would understand very easily, or people would like to hear.
Right.
I said that defeats the purpose of me talking. Like, I can only say what I feel.
Right.
I'm not saying it's right.
Right.